The contents in this case are worth about $1,500. Just 3 days ago, I started listing these items and got about 20 to 25 items up on eBay. And already half of those have sold for $2,000. And if you want to know about this item, you'll want to stay tuned to the end of this video where I explain exactly what's in there and what's selling fast and for good money for me. So stay tuned because I'm going to be getting to those in just a second. But first things first, this day has been a crummy day. You know, you have days where you wake up and you can't be stopped. You're in a rhythm, you're just going throughout your day and it just seems like everything is going right. That hasn't been today. I've had a couple of frustrating scenarios with different buyers on different platforms. And so I just thought I'd take this opportunity to share those with you to let you know how I'm handling things like this. And you can take from it what you want. But I want to bring you in on it. So let me break down these scenarios for you and explain exactly how I'm handling these. Because let's be real, reselling isn't always about the big sales and the fast flips. Sometimes it's about things like this. So allow me to explain. My first issue of the day involves this hoodie right here. Now you can see I've got a price for $28 plus 9 shipping. I had a watcher on this morning, as I always do in the morning and at night. I go through and send offers to try and get a few sales here and there. And occasionally it works. And I had a bundle of probably 5 to 10 items that I was sending offers on. And so I quickly went in and sent an offer of $24 on this shirt, $4 off the original price. And right away, this sweatshirt sold and I got really excited. But when the payment notification came through, it said payment received $11 and change. And I was thinking that sweatshirt is definitely more than $11. So I must have done something incorrectly. And turns out I did. So when I went to look at it, instead of sending $24, which I thought I was doing, I sent $2. And of course, the buyer took it immediately. And they paid $2 plus 9 shipping and tax. So $11 came in and I had this dilemma. My first dilemma is this isn't my item. I'm selling this for someone else and they obviously wouldn't agree to me selling this for $2. So I knew I couldn't go back to them and say, hey, I only sold this for $2 plus shipping and then be okay with that. And second, it was clearly a mistake. This person had to know that on a $28 item, I wouldn't reduce it down to $2, 90-something% off just to get rid of it. But I didn't think that just go ahead and canceling the order right away was the way to go. And so I decided to leave it up to this person. I reached out in a message and here's what I said. So my initial response was this. Hi, I'm very sorry, but I noticed that I sent a $2 offer on an item that I had originally priced at $28. When I sent the offer, I typed in $24 to send to you, but somehow the 4 never got inserted, I guess. And then I immediately went ahead and sent a follow-up message just because I figured I need to give them some point of action. Like I can't just tell them I made a mistake. They won't respond to me. So I said this. I should also mention I'm selling this consignment for another individual and I cannot sell it for $2. I'm willing to come down to 15 plus shipping to make up for my mistake if you agree. Otherwise, I will have to cancel this transaction. So just to give you a frame of reference, the lowest I would have gone on this sweatshirt if we were negotiating offers would have been $20. So I feel like this response was fair to say I'll come down almost half the price of the sweatshirt if they still want it and leave the decision up to them. And of course, she responded right away telling me no worries, just go ahead and cancel the transaction, which I did. So I know some of you out there are probably thinking, well, why didn't you just go ahead and accept the $2 payment plus shipping and just take the loss and move on? And I could have done that. And if this was one of my items that I was selling, I would have considered taking the loss and moving on. But since I was selling this for someone else, and I do give them a spreadsheet of all the things that sell and what I sell them for, I didn't feel right saying I sold this for $2 plus shipping. They definitely question, why did you only sell this for $2? And so I felt like an additional response to the buyer was needed. And I definitely didn't feel right just canceling the transaction with no explanation and saying out of stock. I felt like I owed it to this person to at least say I made a mistake and let them decide how they wanted to handle it, whether they wanted to take my fairly good offer of $15 plus shipping or whether they just wanted me to go ahead and cancel. So that was dilemma number 1 today. Let's move on to dilemma number 2. And this one involves Poshmark. So last week I sold this bundle of FootJoy shirts, 2 shirts total. You can see here $14.23 for 2 different shirts, both size medium. Shipped them out and got a message last night as I was laying in bed. And here's what he said. Jason, I received this order. The white shirt is as advertised and expected. The pink shirt has a couple issues. The color on the back is completely faded and the shirt has at least 3 variations of the pink color due to fade. Also, both shirts are the same brand and size, but the pink shirt is a size, maybe 2 sizes larger than the white shirt. I'd like to send back the pink shirt. when it comes to Poshmark, returns aren't standard. So when the buyer claims they want to return an item, it really comes down to whether one, the seller is willing to accept a return, or two, if a case is open that Poshmark deems that transaction is worthy of being returned. Meaning you sent something different than what the buyer purchased, or there was a flaw or something that was not described in the title or the pictures or the description of the listing. And here, that wasn't the case. So this is the listing that the buyer saw. FootJoy golf polo shirt, flaws. And then if you look in the description, it says shirt is faded from the sun, has a light spot on the front. So I'm describing exactly the condition of this shirt. As you look at this top photo, you can kind of see some fading on the top due to this person obviously wearing it out in the sun while they golfed. I even have a picture here of a light spot on the back. And then in the description, I also have the measurements as well, pit to pit and length. Now, one thing I want to add about this brand in particular, FootJoy, it's a golf athletic brand. And typically, their clothing all runs larger. So for a shirt that's got a pit to pit of 25 inches, that would typically be around a large. Now, I did have the measurements of the other shirt as well in that listing, and it was 23.5 for that medium. So you can see a discrepancy of about 1.5 inches. So we've got a couple issues here. One, they're mentioning the fading on the shirt, which I had already described and shown pictures of. And two, they're talking about the measurements. So I addressed both in my response, and here's how I handled this situation. So my response was this: I'm sorry the pink shirt wasn't what you were wanting. Unfortunately, I cannot accept a return on this item. I had flaws listed in the title, a summary of the fading in the description, a picture of the fading, and measurements in both descriptions of each shirt. I priced the pink FootJoy shirt considerably lower due to the fading than I would have if it weren't there. And you can obviously tell the difference in the shirts. For a FootJoy that's in great condition, I'm going to get in the 20s plus shipping. For this FootJoy, I priced it at $14, obviously because it was flawed. So I sent that message this morning. I haven't heard anything from the buyer. I'm not sure whether he'll open a case and try and take his chances with Poshmark. And really at that point, I don't know what they'll do. But at least I'm stating where I am from my side. In case they do review these messages, they can then decide from there. But I'll just add here real quick, this is one of the benefits of selling on Poshmark, if you're not already selling on Poshmark, is that returns aren't accepted unless, as mentioned before, it's an item that was sent not as described, it came broken, or the item is considerably different than what you said you were going to sell them. Those are usually the only times. So if a buyer gets something that doesn't fit, or they just don't like it, they can't return it. That's their policy, which I love, to be honest. So that's the reason why I'm standing my ground here on this response with this shirt, because I clearly described it, and just because it doesn't fit, I can't help that. They had the measurements in the listing. They could have checked before they purchased. Okay, thanks for sticking along on those two stories and those two frustrating parts of my day, but those are behind me now. Let's get on to the best part. What are the items that are selling fast and for good money? Let me show you. So you can see here in this other room that I've got on the side, a huge lot of some of these items here. We've got some single cases, we've got hard cases, but these have been selling really well. I don't have these listed yet, probably listed 20 others. And like I said, sold already 12 to 13 of those items. But I'm gonna explain in just a second what these are and how much they're going for. These are the units that I already have listed and I'm waiting on them to sell. And we've got some other boxes and things right there. What is in this case that's so valuable? Well, let me show you. Take a look at those. That's right, watches. So in this case and the other ones in the room are watches just like this one that have been selling anywhere from a low of 100 all the way up to $279. And as mentioned, I've got over 20 already listed on eBay, 13 of those have sold, and I've probably got another 60 to 80 watches in that other room waiting to be listed. So the question that's probably on your mind is, where did you come across all of these watches? And that's a great question. I recently acquired this watch collection from a family member to sell online. To be honest, I knew there was money in these watches, but I didn't know that they would sell as fast as they have been. So I'm going to show you a couple of these brands that I'm listing and selling so that you can find them as well. Keep in mind, if you buy these brand new, you're paying several $100s and upwards of $1,000, $1,500, sometimes $2,000 for one of these watches. Now, I showed you the brand earlier on this case, Invicta. That's one of the brands that I've been selling, and the majority of these watches are from the brand Invicta. Let me show you the other two brands that are in this lot. So we've got Aragon, and then the third brand would be Android. Now, I knew this family member had a huge watch collection, but I had no idea how much these watches were honestly worth. It's not something you ask someone. So I'm not someone that typically buys watches to resell. I honestly don't even know if I've ever sold a watch online from something that I thrifted at a thrift store. So when I acquired these watches, I had to do a lot of research, and I had to do a lot of just different reading online to figure out how much these are worth and what different things people want to know about these watches, the different specs and material and things like that. And I won't say that I'm an expert by any means, but I'm learning enough to at least make some sales and to get some items listed in the proper way, or at least I think. So out of these three brands, one really stands out to me when I've done research on sold comps for all three, and that's Android. Android seems to be the one that sells quicker and gets a little more money than the others, Invicta and Aragon. Now, of course, it's like anything else. It's going to depend on the model. One model will sell for $100 and one model will sell for $280. Here's one from Android that went for $249 plus shipping within a day of listing it. Now you can see this really intricate eagle design, great color, just a beautiful watch. And obviously the pattern and the design and the style on the dial as well as the rest of the watch is gonna help drive that item up in value. And here's another from Invicta that sold within a day of posting it as well. You can see it didn't go for as much money, but it's just a beautiful watch. And I had no idea that even used, these watches would be worth that much. And even these hard cases, like this one, sell for really good money. I've already sold one of these for $40 plus shipping. So let me bring you in on the process. So when I don't really have any prior knowledge to selling watches, how do I go about learning what I need to look up and type into the listing to make sure that the person who wants to buy this watch sees it? So I'm going to start off with this watch that I showed you earlier. This really cool pattern watch, really unique there. So first off, each of these watches has a model number on the back of the watch. I don't know if you'll be able to see it there, but on the back it says model number 11336. So this one is Invicta, obviously the Invicta on the front, model number 11336. So what I would do next is I'll go into Google and type in Invicta and the model number and pull up this watch. And from doing that, that will tell me what the name of this watch is. Having the model number is great, but I want the model name. So once I look this up, I see that this is the Invicta Russian Diver watch, model number 11336. Now from there I can look into Google to find like some of the specs, what's the water depth, what's the size, is it automatic or quartz movement? These are all things that I've been learning as I go. And what I've come to find out is those are the details that people really want to know. Now I don't know much about movement. I can't tell you much about what automatic and quartz means, but it means something to people out there. But I'll basically list that in the title to make sure that that is seen. And from what I'm gathering, it seems like automatic watches have a little more value than quartz watches. So once I know the brand name and the model name, then I go into eBay, type that in, and look for sold comps. You can see here I typed in Invicta Russian Diver 11336, nothing pulls up. And even when I try Invicta 11336, nothing pulls up there either. So in this case, it gets a little more challenging because I have to do a little more digging around to find out what the value is of this watch. Usually if you can find a listing on Google or if you can find someone that's selling it new, you can at least see where the value of that watch is brand new and kind of price accordingly. And this is kind of where the guesswork comes in. Most of the watches that I've been researching have pulled up either in eBay or they've pulled up in Google. I haven't had a problem at least finding that model online. And so these have been really good sellers for me, and I'm going to continue listing until I get all of those up, especially now that they are moving. So when all is said and done and these watches and cases have all sold, I would estimate between $15,000 to $25,000 in sales. Now keep in mind that's not profit. I'll have to subtract out shipping and fees and things like that. But still, for a watch collection used, that's really good money. So now that I've shown you those three brands, you'll want to remember them when you're at thrift stores so that you can find them as well and flip for good money. If you can find a watch for $10 or $15 and flip that for $150 to $250, then more power to you, and I hope that you find something like that. Keep in mind those three brands again: Invicta, Aragon, and Android. And I'm sure there are other brands out there as well that some of you watch collectors or watch sellers may know. But those are the three right now that I want to highlight because those are the three that I'm obviously selling. Thanks again for watching this video, guys. That's all I've got for you today. Happy hunting out there. Hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you on another video. This is Jason signing off. Bye.